Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today we're talking about a coin that shows up in pocket change all the time, the 1965 Washington quarter. You might have seen videos or posts claiming these coins are worth huge sums of money, like $1.9 million. Today we're going to unpack the real history of this coin, how much it's really worth, what makes certain ones valuable, and why most are not a $1 million coin. Let's start with the history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. For decades, collectors and everyday people used these coins for everyday purchases, and the design became one of the most beloved in American coinage. Up through 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver with a small copper content. But in 1965, the United States Mint changed the composition of quarters to a copper-nickel clad, because rising silver prices made it too expensive to keep silver in everyday coins. That means most 1965 quarters are not silver and were made for mass circulation. Nearly 1.82 billion of these coins were produced, making them extremely common in circulation. Cointrackers plus one. Another important thing to understand about 1965 quarters is that they did not carry a mint mark. From 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint temporarily stopped using mint marks on coins to discourage hoarding during a widespread coin shortage. So even though they may have been struck at different facilities, most 1965 quarters won't show a PD or S, or 3Ps. So what is a typical 1965 quarter worth? The vast majority of these coins that were used in everyday transactions are worth just 25 cents today, or maybe a dollar or two in slightly better condition. Even uncirculated examples are usually only worth a handful of dollars, depending on condition and grade. Coins in mint state condition that are flat, shiny, and uncirculated can bring more from collectors, with some MS-66 grade coins selling for several dozen dollars, and MS-67 and MS-68 graded coins reaching hundreds or a few $1,000s in rare cases. Cointrackers plus one. What really drives value higher for this date is rare errors or unusual strikes. During 1965, the mint was transitioning from silver coinage to the new clad composition, and occasionally mistakes happened. Among the most exciting varieties are silver planchet errors, where a quarter was mistakenly struck on a leftover 90% silver blank from 1964 instead of the intended copper-nickel planchet. These coins were never meant to exist, and only a few confirmed examples are known. When authenticated and graded, some of these rare silver error quarters have sold for several $1,000s at auction. Accurate precious metals plus one. Other valuable error types include double die errors, where parts of the design appear doubled off-center, or doubled letters, dramatic off-center strikes, or coins struck on planchets meant for other denominations. These error coins can be worth more than typical examples and often interest specialist collectors. Some rare error coins, like double tail strikes or significant misstrikes, have brought tens of thousands of dollars in private sales and auctions when they are dramatic and authenticated. Accurate precious metals plus one. Now here's the critical part about those sensational headlines claiming a 1965 quarter is worth $1.9 million or more. In the real numismatic market, there is no documented, verified sale of a 1965 standard Washington quarter, or even an error variety that reached anywhere close to $1.9 million at a major auction. Some rumor sites or social media clips often exaggerate to get attention, but the actual highest auction records for this date and error types are in the low tens of thousands at most, depending on rarity and condition. Even extremely rare silver error quarters that do exist have sold in the thousands rather than millions. So if you see a claim that every 1965 quarter is $1 million coin, that's just hype, not based on verified market data. Coleccionistas de monedas. If you think your 1965 quarter might be one of those rare valuable ones, here's what you should do. First, look at the coin carefully under bright light. Check the rim color and weight. Standard clad quarters have a copper-colored edge on the reeded side and weigh about 5.67 grams. True silver planchet errors weigh a little more and have a uniform silver color all around the edge. If you suspect something unusual, consider having the coin professionally authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. That authentication makes a huge difference when selling coins, because buyers want certainty about what they are buying. In summary, the 1965 Washington quarter has an interesting history as the first quarter year without silver, and it's fun to collect. Most of these coins are common and worth only a little more than face value unless they are in exceptionally high uncirculated condition or truly rare error pieces that are professionally authenticated. The promise of $1 million coin comes up online from time to time, but it's not supported by confirmed auction records for this date. Real rarity brings real value, and that's what collectors pay for it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 1965 quarter, subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments if you'd like to explore another coin from your pocket change next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a close look at a coin that a lot of people find in pocket change and piggy banks, the 1966 Washington quarter. You might have seen videos or social media posts claiming this coin is worth huge amounts of money, even figures like $1.8 million or more. Today we are going to break down the real history of this coin, what drives its value, how much it's actually worth, and why most are not million-dollar coins. Let's begin with the history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It quickly became one of the most iconic and long-lived U.S. coins. For decades, quarters were made of 90% silver, but that changed in the mid-1960s. By 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped using silver in quarters due to rising silver prices. Instead, they began producing coins with a copper-nickel clad composition, meaning a copper core with copper-nickel outer layers. This was the standard until much later coin programs began at the end of the century. The 1966 quarter you might find today is made of that copper-nickel clad metal and contains no silver, so its melt value isn't tied to bullion prices. Cointrackers Plus One. Another important detail about the 1966 quarter is that it doesn't have a mint mark. Between 1965 and 1967, the U.S. Mint stopped putting mint marks on coins to discourage hoarding during a coin shortage. So unlike quarters from many other years, you won't see a PD or S under the date, and that's normal. Every 1966 Washington quarter was made without a mint mark. U.S. coins value. Now, let's talk about the real value. For most people, the 1966 Washington quarter you find in change is worth exactly 25 cents the face value. Even if it looks clean and shiny, it's usually common and inexpensive to collectors. If it's heavily worn because it was used in circulation, that value doesn't change. Cointrackers collectors pay more for coins in uncirculated condition, meaning no wear and original mint luster intact. For these uncirculated quarters, values can increase depending on the specific grade. Most mint state examples might bring a few dollars up into the low tens of dollars. Some high-end coins graded by professional services can go higher up into the hundreds or even low thousands in rare cases. For example, top-graded MS-68 Plus coins, meaning nearly perfect condition, have been recorded selling for around $21,000 at auction. U.S. coins value Plus One. There are also special mint set SMS specimens made in higher quality strikes that collectors value more than regular circulation coins. Some of those can sell for a few $1,000s in top grades, but these are still extremely rare compared to ordinary examples. U.S. coins value errors can also make some 1966 quarters more valuable. Mistakes like double die obverse or reverse errors, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets sometimes attract collector interest and can be worth more than normal circulation pieces. But even dramatic error coins typically sell for hundreds to a few $1,000s, depending on how severe and authenticated the error is. Pennyverse Plus One. So what about the million-dollar claims you've seen online? Here's the real truth. There is no verified record at major auctions of a standard 1966 Washington quarter selling for anywhere near $1.8 million. The documented highest sale for this date is in the tens of thousands of dollars for an exceptionally high-grade example, not millions. At the end of the day, most 1966 quarters are common everyday coins that were produced in the hundreds of millions and are only worth modest amounts except in rare and exceptional cases. U.S. coins value. The reason these outrageous million-dollar figures crop up online is usually because people take rare top sales of certain coins and exaggerate them, or they are outright clickbait to get more views or engagement. Always look for verified auction records rather than wild claims you see on social media. If you think you might have a valuable 1966 quarter, here's what to look for. First, examine the condition very carefully. Mint state coins with sharp details and strong surfaces are what collectors pay for. Next, check for obvious errors or unusual features like misprints or off-center strikes. If you believe you have something truly special, consider having it authenticated and graded by a reputable professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. That certification can help establish real market value. U.S. coins value. In summary, the 1966 Washington quarter has an interesting part in U.S. minting history as an early copper-nickel-clad coin with no mint marks. Most examples you'll find are common and worth only face value unless they are in exceptionally high uncirculated grade or rare error varieties. Claims of millions of dollars in value are not supported by verified sales records. Collecting and learning about these coins is exciting because every coin tells a story, and sometimes you really do find something rare, but always check facts and auction data before you believe sensational headlines. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 1966 Washington quarter, hit like and subscribe for more coin collecting videos, and let me know in the comments if you want us to look at another year or coin type next. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about coins from the 1990s, the 1995 D Washington quarter. You might have seen videos online claiming this quarter is worth huge sums of money, even suggestions of one being worth over $1 million. But today we are going to break it all down: the real history, the real value, and what makes some coins worth more than others. I want you to walk away knowing exactly what a 1995 D quarter is and whether you might really have something valuable in your pocket. Let us start at the beginning. The Washington quarter was first introduced way back in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design features a portrait of Washington on the obverse or head side and was created by sculptor John Flanagan. This design continued for decades and became one of the most recognizable coins in American currency history. In 1995, the quarters were still being struck for everyday use for commerce, but the basic look was the same familiar design that millions of people had used for generations. The 1995 D Washington quarter specifically was minted at the Denver Mint. The D mint mark right below the date tells us that is where it was made. This particular coin was part of an enormous production run with over 1.1 billion pieces struck that year. Because of that huge number, these coins were very common and most ended up in general circulation around the country. They were meant to be used, not saved for collectors. That huge mintage is important because it directly affects how much the coin is worth today. CoinTracker's plus 1 inch every day use a 1995 D quarter was worth exactly what it says on it, 25 cents. You could use it to buy candy drinks or put it in a coin jar, and that was its entire purpose. Most of these coins stayed in pocket change wallets and piggy banks until today. Now here is the real numismatic truth about value. For the typical 1995 D quarter in circulated condition that has wear from use, it is still worth about 25 cents to maybe a few dollars to the right buyer. If you find one that is in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been spent and has full original luster, it can be worth more depending on how well preserved it is. Uncirculated examples might sell for around $5 up to even over $100 or more if in superb condition or with a professional grade from one of the coin grading companies. But the average collector value for most uncirculated pieces is nowhere near crazy numbers. Coin identifier plus 1. Some people online have discussed rare or error versions of 1995 quarters. These could include off-center strikes, double die errors where design elements look doubled wrong, planchet strikes, and other unusual strikes. These error coins can be worth more than face value, sometimes several $100s or more if they are dramatic and well documented. These error variations are separate from the standard issue Denver quarters and are valued by collectors specifically because they are mistakes that slipped through quality control. The values for these error coins vary widely and are based on how rare the error is, the eye appeal, the condition, and whether a professional grading service has certified the error. Coin identifier. But here is the key thing you need to know about those videos and posts claiming a 1995 D Washington quarter is worth over $1 million or more. In the real numismatic marketplace, there is no documented case of a standard 1995 D quarter fetching millions at auction. The highest sales for regular 1995 quarter types, even in near-perfect condition, are in the low thousands at most, and typically less, depending on grade. That means a typical or even uncirculated 1995 D quarter is not a $1 million coin. If someone tells you otherwise, those claims are likely exaggerated or clickbait meant to drive views. CoinValueLookup.com. To put it in perspective, some older rare Washington quarters from the 1930s, especially low mintage dates, can sell for tens of thousands or even over $100,000 when in pristine condition. But those coins were made nearly a century ago with much lower mintages and much higher collector demand. Modern coins like the 1995 D do not have that historical rarity. CoinValueLookup.com. If you think you have a 1995 D quarter that might be worth a lot of money, here is what you should do. First, examine the coin carefully for any signs of error or unusual features. Look for doubled letters or numbers off-center designs or odd shapes. Then compare it to reliable coin value guides or auction records. If you believe it really might be rare, consider sending it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading. A professional grade can significantly influence the price a coin will bring at sale. In summary, the 1995 D Washington Quarter has a rich history as part of the iconic Washington Quarter series and is a fun coin for anyone to collect. Most of these coins are common and sell for face value or slightly more if in excellent condition. Errors can bring a premium, but generally not anywhere near $1 million. Always check reliable sources and auction records, and don't fall for online hype that says every old coin is worth a fortune. If you do happen to find something truly rare, that could be a different conversation, but for the vast majority of 1995 D quarters, the value is modest. If you enjoyed this deep dive coin history and value breakdown, please like and subscribe for more coin collecting content. Let me know in the comments if you have a coin you want me to talk about next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. If you want help structuring this into segments with timestamps or narration tips, just let me know. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about one of the most searched modern US coins on the internet, the Washington Quarter Dollar, dated 1997 from the Philadelphia Mint. You may have seen headlines claiming this ordinary-looking quarter could be worth up to $1.3 million. But is that really true? And what makes this coin special enough for collectors to pay big money? Let's dive deep into the history, real value, rare errors, and the truth behind the million-dollar claims. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The design was created by sculptor John Flanagan and became one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. For decades, Americans used this coin every day without giving it much thought. By 1997, the Washington Quarter was nearing the end of its original design run. Just 2 years later, the U.S. Mint would launch the famous State Quarters program, completely changing the reverse design. That makes the 1997 quarter one of the final issues of the classic Eagleback Washington Quarter, which adds historical importance for collectors. The 1997 P quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Even though there is no mint mark on the coin, collectors still identify it as a P Mint coin. In 1997, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters. Because of this massive production, most examples are very common and were heavily circulated in everyday condition. A 1997 P Washington Quarter is worth exactly its face value of 25 cents. If the coin has been used in circulation with wear, scratches, or dull surfaces, it does not carry any premium at all. This is where many people are surprised, because the date alone does not make a coin valuable. However, value changes dramatically when condition comes into play. Coins that were never circulated and remain in mint state condition can be worth more. Uncirculated 1997 P quarters with strong luster and sharp details can sell for a few dollars, sometimes more depending on demand. The real money comes from extremely high-grade examples. Coins graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are very rare for this issue. One of the highest graded 1997 P quarters ever sold reached several $1,000s at auction. These coins survived without wear, damage, or weak strikes, which is extremely uncommon for a coin that was made for everyday use. Now let's talk about error coins, because this is where rumors of huge values usually begin. Error coins occur when something goes wrong during the minting process. Some 1997 P quarters have been found with double die errors, where letters, or numbers appear doubled. Others show off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or incorrect metal blanks. These error coins can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s, and in rare cases, a few $1,000s. Wrong planchet errors, where the quarter was struck on a blank mint for another coin, are especially desirable and can bring strong prices from collectors. So where does the $1.3 million story come from? The truth is that there is no confirmed sale, auction record, or certified grading report showing a 1997 Washington quarter selling for $1.3 million. These numbers often come from exaggerated online listings, misunderstandings, or clickbait titles designed to attract attention. Sometimes people confuse prototype coins, experimental strikes, or completely different rare coins with common circulation quarters. In other cases, sellers list coins online for outrageous prices even though they never actually sell for those amounts. That said, it is still possible for a Washington quarter to be worth a life-changing amount of money, but it would require an extremely rare error, unique mint mistake, or historically significant discovery that has not yet been documented. Without professional grading and verification, million-dollar claims should always be viewed with caution. If you think you have a valuable 1997 quarter, start by examining it closely. Look for doubling on the lettering, unusual shapes, missing details, or strange coloring. Check the coin's condition under good lighting. If it looks nearly perfect or has an obvious error, it may be worth sending to a professional grading service for evaluation. In summary, the 1997 Washington quarter is an important piece of modern American coin history. Most are worth face value. Some are worth a few dollars. Rare high-grade examples can reach thousands, and special error coins can bring serious collector money. While the $1.3 million claim is not supported by real evidence, this coin still proves that even ordinary pocket change can hold hidden surprises. If you enjoyed this video and want more honest coin value breakdowns, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Drop a comment below and tell us what coin you want to see covered next. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a close look at one of the most talked about modern U.S. coins, the Washington quarter dollar dated 1987 from the Denver Mint, also known as the 1987 D quarter. Many people online claim this coin could be worth as much as $1.5 million. But is that really true? Stay with me as we explore the history, real value, rare errors, and what actually makes this coin worth serious money. The Washington quarter has a long and important history in American coinage. It was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin quickly became a symbol of American pride and was used daily by millions of people for decades. By the time 1987 arrived, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for more than 50 years. The design remained largely unchanged, with Washington's profile on the front and the bald eagle on the back. The 1987 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark located on the front of the coin. What makes the 1987 D quarter interesting is its lower mintage compared to many surrounding years. In 1987, the U.S. Mint did not release mint sets for collectors, meaning fewer high-quality coins were saved in uncirculated condition. Because of this, finding a pristine 1987 D quarter today is harder than you might expect. In circulated condition, the 1987 D Washington quarter is usually worth only its face value of 25 cents. If the coin shows wear, scratches, or dull surfaces from everyday use, it does not carry any added premium. Most examples you find in pocket change fall into this category. However, value increases when condition improves. Uncirculated 1987 D quarters with strong luster and sharp details can sell for several dollars. Coins graded in higher mint state levels become more desirable because so few were preserved in perfect condition at the time. The real collector money appears in extremely high-grade examples. Coins graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are very rare for the 1987 D issue. Some of these top-grade coins have sold for thousands of dollars at auction, making them some of the most valuable modern Washington quarters. Another area that adds excitement is error coins. Errors happen when something goes wrong during the minting process. Some 1987 D quarters have been found with doubled die errors, where parts of the lettering or date appear doubled. Others may show off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or weak strikes. These error coins can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s, and in rare cases, even more. A dramatic error combined with excellent condition can bring strong prices from serious collectors. Now let's address the big question. Is a 1987 D Washington quarter really worth $1.5 million? The honest answer is no. Confirmed sale or official record supports this claim. There has never been a verified auction, grading report, or museum-level discovery showing a 1987 D quarter selling for $1.5 million. Where does this number come from? In most cases, it comes from exaggerated online listings, misunderstandings, or clickbait videos designed to attract views. Some sellers list coins for outrageous prices without ever selling them, while others confuse rare prototype coins or entirely different issues with common circulation quarters. That said, history has shown that unexpected discoveries can happen. If an unknown, one-of-a-kind mint error or experimental strike were discovered and authenticated, it could potentially be worth an enormous amount. But until such a coin is verified by experts, million-dollar claims should be viewed with caution. If you think you may have a valuable 1987 D quarter, examine it carefully. Look for unusual features, doubling, off-center designs, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. Pay close attention to the coin's condition. If it appears nearly perfect or shows a clear error, professional grading is the next step. To summarize, the 1987 D Washington quarter is an important modern coin with a fascinating story. Most are worth face value. Some are worth a few dollars. High-grade examples can reach thousands, and rare errors can bring strong collector interest. While the $1.5 million claim is not supported by evidence, this coin proves that even ordinary pocket change can sometimes hold surprising value. If you enjoyed this video and want more honest coin value guides, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Leave a comment below and tell us what coin you want to see featured next. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins. Today we're diving deep into a coin that might be sitting in your pocket change or coin jar right now, the 1979 D Washington quarter. You may have seen videos claiming these coins are worth huge amounts of money, even as much as $1.5 million. Today I'm going to break down the real history, what makes these coins collectible, how much they're really worth, and why most 1979 D quarters are not magically worth millions. Let's start with the history. The Washington quarter design was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It replaced earlier quarter designs and quickly became one of the most iconic coins in U.S. circulation. The obverse features George Washington's portrait, while the reverse shows a bald eagle with outstretched wings. Over the decades, the design stayed remarkably consistent and became a staple of everyday American currency. It'd be why 1979 the quarter was no longer made of silver. After 1964, rising silver prices led the United States Mint to switch to a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means the coin is mostly copper in the center with a thin outer layer of nickel bonded on both sides, giving it a silvery finish but not silver content. This composition continued until the 50-state quarters program began in 1999. Now, let's talk about the 1979 D quarter itself. The D Mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1979, the U.S. Mint produced almost 500 million of these coins at Denver alone, making them extremely common in circulation throughout the United States and beyond. Most of these coins were meant to be used as everyday money, not saved away for collectors, which is why large numbers still exist today. Because of that huge production run, most 1979 D quarters you find are going to be worth face value 25 cents, especially if they show wear from circulation. Even in slightly better condition, uncirculated or mint state, examples generally only bring a few dollars from collectors. For example, many guides list typical mint state values around $1 to $5 for mid-grade uncirculated pieces. Coins that have been professionally graded and certified uncirculated might fetch more, depending on grade, but they still fall far short of huge prices often claimed. So how do some of these coins get higher values at all? The key is condition and rarity. Coins that have never been spent, and show perfect original luster can attract collectors willing to pay above face value. Certain high numerical grades from reputable grading services can drive prices into the low hundreds or a bit more. For instance, there have been records of Denver minted 1979 quarters graded in very high condition selling for over $1,000 at auction. Those results are exciting and real, but they are extremely rare exceptions, and they reflect perfect condition coins, not everyday finds. Now here is the critical point about those sensational videos claiming a 1979 D quarter is worth $1.5 million. In today's numismatic market, there is no verified, documented case of an ordinary 1979 D Washington quarter selling for anywhere near $1 million. None of the auction records for this date and mint mark come close to that figure. The known high sales for top-graded specimens might reach the low thousands for exceptional examples, not millions. So if you see a headline suggesting a standard 1979 D quarter is worth $1.5 million, beware that such claims are almost always exaggerated or clickbait designed for views. There are rare variety and error coins that can be more valuable than standard strikes. Errors like die doubling off-center strikes or unusual planchet flukes can make a coin more interesting to collectors. But even those error coins generally sell for a few hundred to maybe a few $1,000s. They rarely cross into the high six-figure territory unless they are genuinely unique one-off pieces with incredible demand. And to be clear, there is no widely accepted error type for the 1979 D quarter that would make it inherently a high six-figure or million-dollar rarity. If you think you might have a valuable 1979 D quarter, here's what to do. Examine the coin carefully under good light and magnification. Look for exceptional condition, no scratches or wear, and very sharp detail. Check for any unusual features like doubled design elements or planchet errors. If you believe it might be extraordinary, consider submitting it to a professional coin grading service. A professional grading service like PCGS or NGC will authenticate and grade the coin, which can help you understand its true market value. But as a general rule, most 1979 D Washington quarters are common and worth only a bit more than face value unless they are in near-perfect condition or are a true verified error. The history of the coin is rich and interesting as part of the long-running Washington quarter series, and there's a lot to appreciate even if your coin isn't a million-dollar treasure. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new, please hit like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you'd like me to talk about another coin from your collection next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. If you want help writing on-screen visuals, facts graphics, and chapter sections for this script, just let me know.